Hello folks, today I thought I'd do a little profile for you of the Harbor Freight welding table I picked up a couple of weeks ago. I ended up ordering it online. I tried to pick it up at the local store and they were out of stock, so I just went online and ordered it, and it showed up in about a week. Comes in a box, pretty stout. It wasn't a lightweight package, and obviously assembly is required. And I'll talk through a little bit of that here in a few minutes. First, I'd like to explain a little bit about why I went with this type of table versus something else like making my own. I don't really do a lot of fabrication for my work. I'm primarily small engine and motorcycle repair, and repair is a key word. Most of my welding is repairing things. I'm not into mass fabrication. The utility trailer I built last summer maybe being a bit of an exception where I had to do a fair amount of welding, but generally I'm repairing small items. So I really didn't want a large, at this point anyway, a large steel-topped, heavy welding table. It just simply isn't what I need for my work. I wanted something that had a small footprint, that was easy to use, easy to get out, easy to put away when I needed to repair something or tack something up. And this table will handle fairly decent sized parts. The concern I have with the table is it's not folding, and again I'll talk to that in a few minutes, but generally after doing some research and thinking it through, building my own large welding table versus something smaller like this at this point, I obviously decided to go this route. So the table itself comes in a box, clearly like this, and it was packaged pretty well. It was heavy, it was stout, and it was delivered right to the door. So the kit itself came with all the leg components and all the various pieces, and essentially had to just be put together with some simple tools. Set of instructions and a hardware kit. The instructions were okay if basic, and anyone with a basic competence with mechanical things shouldn't have any problems. The one thing I did run into is I ended up with a lot of extra hardware, and that's what you see here. The table is completely assembled per the instructions, and I ended up with all these extra parts. So I don't know if that kit is common to some other assembly that Harbor Freight or Chicago Electric rather supplies, but I thought it was a bit wasteful, all this extra hardware. So I'll simply just take this hardware and throw it in my extra hardware bins. But it's a do-it-yourself deal. Took me probably 15 minutes maybe to put it together, 20 minutes after reading through the instructions, and it's pretty straightforward. The design of the table, the supporting structure underneath like you see here, is such that everything is bolted together and it's fixed. So what that means is the legs, you can't collapse them and make it a flat structure to hang it or attach it to a wall, which is really what I would prefer. So I'm going to give a little thought to determining a way to do that here, and if I can rig up a way easily to make it fold out or fold in so that I could do something different for storage. I'm not going to put a lot of time or effort into that because that really defeats my purpose of buying a pre-made table. But if I can figure out something simply and quick, I'll probably go ahead and do that. So the base is fixed right now, simple bolt together. The top does tilt. You've got these adjusters here. There's one on each side, and you simply loosen off. You can see these predefined positions. There's 5 of them, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 on each side. So you can rotate the table, the degree of the table this way by loosening these yellow handles up on each side and adjusting the table accordingly. There's 2 movable fences, one on the end and then one on the face. The one on the face right now I've got in a down position, and they're independently adjustable on each side by loosening or adjusting these thumb screws. So I can have the front up and the rear down, or the rear up and the front down, or both up or both down, or whatever. And the same thing applies to the front. That is that you got a thumb screw on each side. You simply adjust these in to tighten it, obviously, and out to loosen it. And then once you have it where you want it, you can just lock it down like that. The opposite side, that is in this case the back, and as I'm presenting the table right now, the right side has no fence, it's just open. And it has slots here for clamps and that kind of thing if you need to use that. To tilt the top, you simply loosen the yellow handle on each end. And then simply to tilt the top. I find it easiest to put my foot on the base support on the table and then just adjust this to whatever position I want or might want, and then tighten the yellow handles accordingly. So there you go, folks. That's my simple little review of the Harbor Freight Chicago electric welding table. So here's kind of my take on this little table. It's relatively inexpensive, particularly if you have to go out and buy steel, the components to make something like this, because steel is not inexpensive anymore, and I would have had to do that. It was easy to put together. If you got average mechanical skills, one wouldn't have any problem assembling it. Seems to be reasonably well made. A lot of extra hardware. I'm not sure the thought behind that, but nonetheless, ended up some extra pieces. Readily available through Harbor Freighter online. If you've got Harbor Freight in your area, you can probably pick one up. They're in stock. You can order it and have it in a week. So I think it's a pretty good buy based on what I've seen so far. I have not used it yet, but I think it's a pretty good buy. So that's it for this review. As usual, if you've got any questions, drop me a line. Otherwise, thanks for watching.